When people think of nightlife in Vietnam, they often imagine busy cities and neon lights. But tonight, I want to show you something completely different. A normal evening for ordinary people. Ever since I started my new job, my schedule has been all over the place. Evening looks like in a small Vietnamese town. By this time, most people have finished work. The streets become quieter, while restaurants, cafes, food. Normally, this is the liveliest time of the day, between 6 and 9 p.m. But because it's cold and drizzling tonight, there are fewer people out than usual. Instead of crowds, the town feels peaceful, with only a few shops still glowing under the lights. This is Vietnamese fresh spring rolls. They're filled with herbs, rice noodles, and meat or shrimp, all wrapped in delicate rice paper. But the real magic comes from the dipping sauce. One thing you'll notice in Vietnam is the huge variety of fresh herbs served with almost every meal. But I have a confession. I can't eat all of them. Perilla leaves and Vietnamese mint just aren't for me, so I always leave them out when I make my spring rolls. Everyone has different tastes, right? I'm eating my spring rolls with mam nem, a traditional fermented anchovy dipping sauce from central Vietnam. It has a very bold aroma that often surprises foreigners the first time they try it. But if you can get past the smell, you'll discover a rich, savory flavor that keeps you coming back for more. Looking around, almost everyone is here with someone. Parents and children, couples or groups of friends enjoying dinner together. To me, that's one of the most beautiful things about life in Vietnam. After a long day of work, people don't just go home. They make time for each other. As for me, I'm still not quite used to eating alone in a place full of people. But that's okay. Right now, I'm sharing this meal with all of you through the camera. And somehow, that makes me feel a little less alone. 9:30 p.m. as I walked home, but the market was still getting busier. In many parts of Vietnam, the day doesn't really end after sunset. Wow, this might be one of the cutest bubble tea shops I've ever seen. Instead of renting a store, the owner turned a small electric car into a mobile cafe. It's creative, practical, and probably costs much less than opening a traditional shop. I love seeing little business ideas like this. Just a few hundred meters away from the night market, everything changes. The music fades, conversations become quieter. A pub is about to close, serving only one last table. I usually visit this market around 9 a.m., when it's full of fresh vegetables and busy shoppers. But now it's 9 p.m. The traditional market has closed, and I'm curious to see how this familiar place transforms after dark. Wow, I didn't expect it to be this quiet. During the day, this market is full of people buying fresh food and chatting with vendors, but by 9 p.m., almost every stall has closed. Only a hair salon and a small household goods shop are still open, because this is also their home. One vegetable seller is still here, packing up. I asked her about her day. She smiled and told me she starts selling at 4:05 every morning and doesn't finish until nearly 10 p.m., depending on customers. Luckily, she lives just behind the market. I was surprised. Her workday lasts almost 18 hours. Over there, another shop owner is covering his stall with a tarp.
So this is what the market looks like at night. Every stall is simply covered with a tarpaulin before the vendors head home. There are no locks, no security guards watching each stall, but most of the goods are left untouched, just as they were during the day.
What I admire most isn't the tarpaulin. It's the trust behind it. In small towns like this, people rely on mutual respect and their sense of community. That peaceful atmosphere is one of the things I appreciate most about life in Vietnam. I noticed a couple having dinner right inside their stall. In traditional markets like this, many vendors spend almost their entire day here, so their stall becomes more than just a place to do business. It becomes part of their daily life. Oh, I just saw a mouse scurry across the market. I guess this is when they're most active, coming out at night to look for food. I just hope they don't get into the vendors' vegetables before the market opens again tomorrow morning. This is the meat and seafood section of the market. At the end of the day, the meat is taken home or stored in refrigerators so it stays fresh until the next morning. But what about the fish? I heard what sounded like a water pump running, and it turned out to be an oxygen pump plugged in and hanging in baskets. Maybe this is the market's true face. No bargaining, no shouting, just quiet after a very long day. I realized a market is a lot like people. The busier it is during the day, the more it deserves to rest at night. It was past 10 p.m., and most shops and restaurants had closed. The streets had fallen completely silent. Every so often, a passing motorbike would briefly break the quiet before everything became still again. It felt like the entire town was fast asleep. It's 10:20 p.m. Rain has started falling. Luckily, I made it home before the heavy rain arrived. My roommate is already asleep. By day, this is our sofa. By night, it's a bed for her and her daughter. In shared homes in Vietnam, people usually keep quiet after 10 p.m. out of respect for everyone else. I don't want to wake my roommate, so I don't turn on the room light. Instead, I just use the flashlight on my phone.
I'm still hungry. Earlier today, I only had 2 small fresh spring rolls, which cost about 20 cents because I was trying to save money. So now I'm making a bowl of instant noodles. I can't go to bed hungry. I eat at my little desk because the sofa has become my roommate's bed for the night. That's one of the hardest parts of sharing a room. You learn to move quietly and be mindful of the people around you. Oh, my carelessness. I was planning to put on a movie to watch while I ate, but I didn't manage to turn down the volume on my phone. My life isn't anything extraordinary right now. A tiny room, a new job, a very simple dinner. I'm just an ordinary girl with a low income, living an ordinary life. But tonight, I discovered a side of the market I'd never seen before. Peaceful, quiet, and completely different from the busy mornings. Tomorrow, I'll wake up early to see how it comes back to life again.
Eating out, home cooked meals.
It's 4 a.m. The sky is still dark, and the sun hasn't risen yet.
Apart from the sounds of motorbikes and insects, the street was unusually quiet, and the school was completely dark with the lights off. The morning coffee shop was still closed, even though it hadn't opened yet. But this market has already been awake for quite some time. If you only looked at the lights and the crowds, you'd never guess it's still before sunrise. The first thing I notice is that vendors don't wait for daylight. They use LED lights and headlamps so customers can inspect vegetables. Artificial light replaces the morning sun during the first hours of business. Not every vendor owns a truck. Some bring their goods by bicycle, while many others use motorbikes piled high with vegetables, fruit, meat, and flowers. Watching them arrive one by one before sunrise is a familiar sight across Vietnam. Motorbikes don't just carry people here, they carry livelihoods. They are the lifeline of traditional markets, connecting farms, vendors, and customers every single day. Everyone seemed so relaxed, chatting and laughing as they worked. No one looked rushed. It felt like a routine they had repeated for years. Everyone knew exactly what to do, and within minutes, everything was ready for customers. Even at 4 a.m., the bread stall already had people lining up to buy breakfast. By 5 a.m., the town is fully awake. In less than an hour, cafes have opened their doors, and many seats are already taken. For many Vietnamese people, the day begins not at work, but over a cup of coffee with friends, neighbors, or colleagues. These ducks traveled over 60 kilometers to get here early this morning. It was quite a sight to see them on the motorbike. It was 5:30, but some stalls were still not open. This is the same broken rice stall we saw last night. Back then, it was closed and empty. Now, before sunrise, everything is ready. The tables, the chairs, and the food, waiting for the morning rush. Just a few hours ago, these stalls were hidden beneath tarpaulins. Now, they've come back to life, filled with colorful fruits, vegetables, and fresh food. The elderly woman's vegetable stall, which was still open when I walked through the market at 10 p.m. last night, is ready for another new day of business. Some stalls have started setting up their goods for sale.
Bánh gì đây ạ?
Bánh đúc con. Bánh đúc đây là bánh gói.
Bánh nhân gì ạ?
Nhân thịt với nấm mèo.
Dạ, thế cho con một. Bao nhiêu một cái ạ?
5.000 à con.
Thế cho con 2 cái. Mất công lấy nước mắm.
Không sao, không sao.
Đấy người ta tới giờ mà tính vậy làm sao? Coi đi.
Em
I came across a small stall selling all kinds of traditional Vietnamese cakes,
and many of them were completely new to me. I bought 2 bánh giò for about 30 cents. They're wrapped in la dong, a traditional Vietnamese leaf that's often used to wrap rice cakes and other local foods. Inside, the cake has a soft, silky rice flour layer filled with seasoned pork and woodier mushrooms. It was still warm, rich in flavor, and absolutely delicious. One thing I love about morning markets in Vietnam is that many of the cakes are freshly made. They're still warm from the steamer, which makes them taste even better.
Wow, a motorbike used for making a living, loaded with vegetables and goods.
Cái đó cô sắp không thôi còn dư nhà ấy đây à, nhà cơm chưa nè. Đấy chú đấy. Chú đấy, chết chưa? Cô xin. Làm sớm thế đi.
At the entrance to the market, I found a stall selling freshly fried sweet potato cakes. The vendor prepares and fries every batch right in front of the customers, so they're always served hot and fresh. I think that's one of the reasons traditional markets are still so popular in Vietnam. People can see exactly how their food is made, and everything feels fresh, homemade, and reasonably priced.
Public buses operate from 5 a.m., with a bus passing by the market approximately every 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow, a truck that's also a mobile stall selling all kinds of accessories? Looks really interesting.
It's 7 a.m. Let's go have breakfast together. I'll stop by the vegetarian restaurant near the market.
Thế con ra ngoài chợ trước.
This is vegetarian rice noodles. It's not made with bone broth. Instead, it's slowly simmered with white radish, chayote, corn, carrots, onions, mushrooms, and other vegetables for hours. The result is a naturally sweet and flavorful broth.
Today's bowl contains no meat or seafood. Instead, it's filled with tofu, tofu skin, mushrooms, and fresh herbs. Some places even make plant-based meat from soybeans or wheat gluten. Every region in Vietnam has its own version of vegetarian noodles. Vegetarian restaurants aren't only for religious people. Many Vietnamese choose vegetarian meals for health, a lighter taste, or simply because they enjoy them. On the 1st and 15th days of the lunar month, even more people eat vegetarian food. It's a tradition that's been part of Vietnamese life for generations. I really enjoy breakfasts like this. They're inexpensive, simple, yet satisfying. A warm bowl of noodles is enough to give me the energy to start a new day. Thank you for always being there for me. An ordinary person living an ordinary life.